Hello, everyone, and welcome to the world of the International Fab Talks. As usual, we are back again. And yes, we are with a very beautiful celebrity wanting to celebrate the space with us on special request. She's here to share her journey as to how she's overcome all the hurdles and she is successful. And she's ready to face any challenge that comes her way. And this is what we want each one of you to learn, including me too, to have a life filled with happiness and joy and face all the ups and downs in life with a positive approach. Let's welcome our special celebrity and guest. She is here with us. She's Ms.Jyothsna Bharath, joining us all the way from Bengaluru, Karnataka, India. Hello, ma'am, and welcome to the session.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for this warm welcome and kind words of introduction. Honored to be here on your platform. And I hope that our conversation actually helps people in understanding life better.
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. It really means a lot when you share your space with us, your time with us. It really means a lot. And I should really thank Chidambaram sir too for sharing your contact details so that I could connect with you.
Yes, pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I shall go ahead and share your profile in an official way.
Sure.
Dear friends, you may be surprised and wanting to know as to why I kept all of this a secret till now without introducing our guest. Now, it's time to introduce our celebrity and guest. As I earlier mentioned, she is Ms.Jyothsna Bharath. She is a learning and development specialist, also known as L&D specialist. And she's a mentor, a coach, and a person wanting transformation for the good for one and all. And that is where her energy lies, to see the beautiful you in your personal and as well as mainly your career space. Ma'am has more than a decade of experience, a decade and a half, you could say more than that, in coaching and mentoring personnel to enhance their workplace success and advancement. So if you are in that workspace and you want to personally grow in your career, you need to have certain skill sets. And so ma'am focuses on building a beautiful you with regard to your career. She's highly knowledgeable with regard to various aspects, focusing mainly as an expert in human dynamics and a cultivator of adult learning theories that we'll get to know as to what it is, because I need to know more about it because I'm nil on that. And I'm sure many of you are like me, my dear friends. And at various levels, she wants to focus on bringing about a beautiful balance and positive approach with regard to the various levels, with regard to hierarchy in an organization. She confidently connects, collaborates, and interfaces with customers, suppliers, internal and external partners as a trusted advisor concerning various business aspects and business projects. Business projects. She confidently works with her heart, mind, and soul every day to bring this beautiful balance and to enhance her skills and as well as the people she meets. You know, it's always a give and take. When we meet people with better skills, we learn from them. When we have better skills, we teach others how to grow. This is the truth of life. Ma'am is also an expert in managing projects, usually acute planning, research, and coordination. She possesses excellent interpersonal skills and communicational skills as well. You could say interpersonal and communication skills, along with strong abilities in designing and implementing various training modules. You could call it as training modules or training programs. She demonstrates superior leadership skills coupled with the ability to assimilate and to collaborate with different corporates and educational institutes. And at the same time, she would like to work and thrive and make others also develop in a very dynamic way, especially in this fast-paced environment. You see the environment now, or the space is, especially the IT sector, or you could say the whole world, 21st century is running at a greater speed. So with this, ma'am would love to thrive and make you also develop in a very positive way. She focuses on building, a beautiful world for one and all. And she's currently an independent enterprise architect and takes up various projects with regard to corporates and educational institutes. Apart from that, Jyothsna ma'am has a management degree from Symbiosis and has done an executive program in business management from IIMC. She is a certified enterprise design thinker and a practitioner. It's not only being a thinker, being a practitioner is, more, put it into action. It's from here into action. So Action speaks a lot. Yes. And a transformational leadership coach, as I earlier mentioned, she focuses on transformation, and a certified business mapping process associate. Now, I'm nil on that. We have to get to know about it. A certified business mapping process associate, that is unique. And over the last decade and a half, she has been very successful in transforming many lives with tangible scale and growth. She is firmly of the, having her firm beliefs with regard to this beautiful aspect. Leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. That's really nice. If you really want to lead your life, you have to really, go forward, learn, and then only you can lead your life. Once you lead yourself in the right way, you could lead others. And I'm sure today we are going to be led in a very right way, as it is Women's Day also approaching. So here, my dear sisters out there, you could derive a lot of inspiration from this special celebrity and guest. She's Ms.Jyothsna Bharath. And if I mispronounced anything, kindly forgive me. I've already taken permission from ma'am. Now it's to the audience to hello, ma'am, and welcome to the session.
Thank you so much once again. I think you've pronounced it right. Jyothsna Bharath, yes. Or for your comfort, you can also call me Jo. That's and JB, otherwise, because JB is my corporate name. People in the corporate world recognize me as JB.
Yes, dear. That's really nice. Jo, JB, that's really nice. They are unique. And yes, we get to know more about you, ma'am, as to who you are. We always would like to know it directly from you. I've shared your profile, but we'd love to know who is the real Jo, who is the real JB.
Great. I'm not going to bore you much, but a very brief understanding about who I am and what I do. So I'm born into an army officer, brought up in a defense fraternity, then got married to a naval officer. And so during this, my growing up age and my growing up years, and after getting married also, I've been moving around the country, lock, stock, barrel every 4 years. So I've had the opportunity of meeting different people from different diverse backgrounds, caste, creed, religion, beliefs, tenets. So that has actually improved my perspective of looking at things or looking at people. On that, and that really intrigued me, and that's one of the reasons I did my MBA and specialized in. I moved more towards learning and development and training because. Rather than using the cliched word called passion, I have a lot of, it gives me a lot of happiness when I'm able to do a knowledge transfer, a KT. And when I see that after my knowledge transfer, there is a productivity enhancement in people when I do a knowledge transfer, at least a 2% productivity enhancement. So, yeah, so I have been into the training field for almost 18 years now and still going still going very strong in this field. And I take up trainings for all IT sector, manufacturing sector, and service industry. So IT is your pharma industry, banking industry. I take up training programs for them based on so anything to do with change management or anything to do with organizational development, I take up sessions. That's about me.
That's really nice and very interesting, ma'am. Very, very interesting. And most of us would like to just sit down and relax and not do much about all the latest technology and the latest things that are, coming in the process of advancement, and you can say progress. Most of the women would like to just sit down, just cook in the kitchen and come out, or either take up some simple job. But when it comes to the IT sector, training and all of that, that requires a lot of grit and determination, courage, right? And you have all of that. So I'd like to know that how did you enter into this beautiful space of getting connected with the IT sector or with the training and mentoring part? Yes, dear. Yes, dear ma'am, we really thank you for sharing all of that. To me, you're really unique, and I feel that most of us or most of the people out there just waste their time by just being comfortable with where they are stuck. They wouldn't want to take the leap forward. But I see you very bold and very courageous. You've taken that leap, and you've really been putting your space and time and energy into the IT sector with regard to training and mentoring, as you said just now, that 18 plus years of experience you have. The question here is, how did you enter into this field? Because 18 years back, most of the women wouldn't venture much into that. As of date, today, if you speak about women entering into the IT field and all of that, it's much more, it has tripled, I think. But earlier,
Yeah.
very few women ventured into the IT sector. How did you
So
enter?
I think, the change for me, I feel very firmly believe that the change happened post the Y2K era. That's after 2000. People started having understand. I mean, I think women also started understanding how important it is for them to be financially independent, despite the fact that they're married and are married into a good family, but still. So that thought of, firstly, the thing is that I always wanted to be financially independent. I did my MBA, so um I mean, God has been very kind that I got married into a very good family. Everything was absolutely hunky dory, but I wanted to make an identity for myself. And I played on my strengths because I have been a very outgoing and extrovert person in my school days. I had participated in a lot of debate competitions and elocutions, and I knew that my strength lies in the way I connect with people. And also, by virtue of coming from the defense background, I started meeting people, as I said, from diverse backgrounds. And that's where I realized that, I think I just understood that I just want to stand and deliver. But I never wanted to be a teacher, with all due regards to the most noble profession on this earth, teaching, that felt that maybe I'll be a misfit to be a teacher. And I really wanted to stand in front of the crowd and deliver. And that's how it piqued my interest into training, and there was no looking back. So I started training way back in 2005. Yeah, after I graduated my MBA, 2004 I started, in fact, and there's been no looking back since then. Yeah, I hope that answers the question of why I picked up training.
Yes,
Mostly because it interests me to capture the audience's attention. It interests me to do a knowledge transfer. It interests me to share skills rather than a subject. So I'm not teaching a subject. I'm training them on certain skills that's going to help them to climb up the ladder of their career. So that's how I got into this field.
excellent, man. Brilliant. Teaching and training are two different aspects. Like, I get to know that. And I love the way you said this financial independence. Everyone should work towards that, irrespective of gender. We all should be financially independent, and we should strive to, if we are not. I really like
Absolutely.
this.
Yes.
Yeah. As you said, like, I wouldn't want to be a teacher. Now, when you said that, I had to just keep a moment of silence, because I've been in the academic sector for 30 years. And so then I was a teacher, a lecturer, and in an academician, you could say, right through. And so then I really now understand training is much better than teaching, because teaching is already there in the book. You just have to just convey what's there. And of course, you add your own this to that, magic to it. But here, training, or sharing the space in front of people and enabling them to understand and transform them in the right way.
Absolutely. It's
The
because
skill set, yes, transferring the skill sets. That's really
absolutely transferring the skill set, or rather equipping them.
very
Rather than transferring, the right word should be equipping them with the right skill set, where they know that it is going to help them in the both personal and professional growth. Why I said teaching is because, as I said, teachers are absolutely a noble profession. They are molding students to become what they are today, into fine citizens, making a place for themselves in the market outside. So that's all thanks to the teacher. Kudos to teaching jobs. But as I said, it's more of over there. It's a subject matter expert. You are teaching a subject, whereas training is when you train somebody, you're expecting them to come to be at a certain platform, and from there you're going to pull them, right? So teaching is mostly the student doesn't know anything. That's how you teach the concepts. Whereas in training, he understands what are the skills. We are just pulling him out of that, refining him, and making him industry ready. So that's what training's all about.
Yes, dear. That's really nice. Excellent, ma'am. Ma'am, I'd like to ask you, like, when did this journey actually, when were the seeds actually put into your thoughts? Like, or like, when did it really start? As a child, did this all start off when you were a young girl, or later on? When did you get this call?
Yeah. So I started my career from with a strategy consultancy firm where we were making sort of, roadmaps for banking sectors. One of the banks, one of my clients was Yes Bank, and I started over there. But because my husband was in the Navy and we had to get transferred, we came to Vishakhapatnam, a place called Vizag in Andhra Pradesh, where it is a very small place, a very small place. So, uh, and I somehow got a call from one of the companies in Hyderabad saying that, are you willing to take up some sessions for our engineering students who are going to face who need to understand how the industry works? Can you take up some sessions? I said, okay, fine. I don't mind doing that. And first time I went and gave a small talk to final year engineering students in Vishakhapatnam. And that's how this journey started. So I started on a small talk, but it went on for months together where I made them industry ready and they were absorbed by the company. So one college to other college, and then, there was no looking back. So I started with campus to corporate. I made them, I kind of, assisted them or helped them in the transition from campus into a corporate world. So that's how the journey started. Way back in 2004, 5 it started. And then after that, I worked with time. I'm also a subject matter expert with for CAT and GMAT training. I take up classes over there. Now I've mellowed down a bit. But yes, I was a subject matter expert for CAT and GMAT classes as well.
Excellent.
And since then, I've been doing trainings.
Yes, that's really wonderful, ma'am. Ma'am, I'd like you to share your thoughts and views and your experience with regard to human dynamics. As you have expertise with regard to human dynamics, as to what it is, how would the layman understand this?
So, when you talk about human dynamics, we need to understand that a lot of people in this mechanical world, see, all of us, we are in a rat race. Get up in the morning, we follow the routine, go to the office. We don't realize that we have just go punch in the time, work for 8 hours, just blindly work, finish the target, come back, and then have a dinner, and you're back to watch TV for some time, and then you're back to your hit the bed, and the next day starts again. So it's a very it's a very mechanical life. So when I say human dynamics, that means there are other facets of you which you have not explored, other facets of you as a person which you haven't explored. So, and that is where when I say human dynamics, I go and play a kind of, jolt the person to understand that, listen, there is life beyond just sitting in front of the system and working. There is life which talks about how you can develop your overall personality that's going to help you climb up the echelons of your career. So that's what, when I talk about human dynamics, it is like, it is not, you have different facets which you haven't explored. So that's what human dynamics is, what I am trying to put across to people. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, dear. Definitely, ma'am. That was really a beautiful answer and with lots of clarity too. Adult learning theories. I would like to know something about it because I'm
Yeah. Yeah. So when I say
Yes.
adult learning theories, it's basically, there's a word called andragogy. Now, what teachers do is called pedagogy. That means they are teaching students, right? They're teaching students. But when you are teaching the elders, that's what is called andragogy, which is nothing but adult learning theories. Now, when I say adult learning theories, for example, I train student who is just going to join a corporate on time management. The same topic, when I have to put it across to a senior management, the dynamics are different. The kind of the dynamics are different, and the kind of intensity is different. So that intensity where you're trying to make them understand and bring them onto a platform where they are able to call for an action is called adult learning theories, where you're talking about how you're able to make them learn. Because what happens is, when you're an adult, there is a receptivity blockage. You don't want to receive because you feel that you know everything. And because by virtue of your age, your experience, the maturity comes in so much so that people don't want to listen to you. They feel that I know everything. And that is where we come as andragogy specialists, or rather, I'll not say a specialist, but yes, a trainer is he's into andragogy, where he's trying to impart a certain skill set, equip them with a certain skill set, which will help them broaden their horizon of thought process or horizon of approaching a certain particular situation. So that's what is adult learning theory is all about. Anything to do with change management, anything to do with organizational development is nothing but where the adults of that company or the workers, employees of that company are able to accept the change and move ahead.
Yes, that's really nice one. Ma'am, there's a very big question now. Equality, equity. Now you have entered into the corporate space.
Equality, sorry, I didn't.
Equality and equity.
Quality and equity. Okay.
Now, as you enter the corporate space, now did you ever face or did you ever see people being, biased towards the male and female? Have you ever faced that being a woman? Did you face anything like any disparity?
Honestly, yes, I did. I did face, because you are especially when companies have got major the major workforce is male, so by default the male domination sets in, where so that disparity comes in terms of, may not be in terms of pay packages per se, but there are a lot of other privileges which generally women don't get. But yet sometimes there are also the disparity in the pay package. Yes, so that is still there. But I feel that times have changed. Organizations have evolved, and they are talking about inclusivity. Diversity, this term of DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. Now every organization is trying to make women at par with men in terms of your profile, in terms of your work responsibilities, or in terms of your pay package. So that, I think, that is changing. That is changing. But yes, there was a time when there was a disparity in terms of, or a kind of a discrimination kind of a thing between a man and a woman who were working in the same company as colleagues. So yes, I had faced it.
Yes, dear. And now the world has been progressing so much, and many of the companies have accepted genders of all kinds, apart from being a male and female. Like that's what we've been through culture, or that's what we've been trained, that there's a boy and girl, and that's it. But now many of us have been,
witnessing a third gender also being,
yeah. And
absolutely.
Gender sensitization is the term that I would like to use here now. We are being sensitized with regard to gender. Now, have you ever come across any situation like this where you had to come in contact, or collaborate with somebody where all of you were there, all the genders were present? And did you ever notice that anybody being rude or being not okay with the presence of the person who doesn't belong to the so-called male and female gender?
Right.
You
So
ever come across that situation?
yeah, I had a very interesting experience. Okay, I did a little bit of modeling in my college days and all, and I participated in Mrs. India a few years back, and I was awarded Mrs. India, Mrs. Congeniality. So at that time, so we were around 40 participants from across the country who got selected, and that was the first time in my life that we were choreographed by a third gender. So there were three choreographers, and all the three were from the third gender. So now what happens is that was the first time I was encountering somebody, who is neither, they're not into zeros or ones, type, for example, they are not neither man nor female. So they were the third gender. And, but trust me, the initial inhibition is always there, the apprehension as to, firstly, as to what do you refer them as, that kind of understanding was not there what today's generation has. For example, my daughter tells me, how do you refer to them? Right? So we have been only taught as he and she, but yes, you have to give them the due respect, what they deserve, and refer them as to how they want to be called as. So I had a very nice experience, and trust me, they're really good people. I think the choreographer was international choreographer, and a fabulous gentleman, maybe, or gentlewoman, absolutely a fabulous personality. And yes, but they were just normal. We have this kind of, thought process that people are different, but they're absolutely normal. We had such a nice time being trained by him. Oh, we were doing that ramp walks practice for till late midnight, and he was an amazing teacher to me. So yes, I had an experience, but it was never bitter. I think I've always come across people. Now my perception has changed after that interaction with that with my choreographer, who happens to be from the third gender. I have I have a lot of respect, which is not subjected to anything. I think I just genuinely respect them for what they are. So yeah, my experience, I never had a bitter experience, but it was amazing. In fact, a very amazing and a beautiful experience to remember for life.
Yes, dear. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful experience. And yes, dear friends, it's time to accept and to respect people across the world, irrespective of gender, caste, creed, and religion. Yes, dear. It's time India also opens up, and accepts one and all. Yes, dear.
Yes.
Dear ma'am, we come down now to the next question. What has been your contribution to the educational institutes? As you mentioned that you connected with corporates and educational institutions. In what way have you been able to connect with the educational institutions? Is it for the faculty members or is it for the students?
No, I have connected more with the students because, so when I say, okay, we have certain programs called train the trainer. So you have these colleges also have their in-house trainers whom we train as to, how to approach. But often than not, I have been associated mostly with students. So they call me as a guest faculty sometimes, or I take up training programs, a back-to-back 5 days workshop with the students. And equip them with not, the word soft skills, for example. A lot of people think soft skills. They're not soft skills, honestly speaking. They're called employability skills. At least this is what I have understood from my years of experience in this field, that these are employability skills. So I train them where, I have been associated with students where I'm able to train them and, the they're ready for the industry interface. Right. So that is how my association has been. And today also, I'm very happy, not an exaggeration, but extremely happy that I have touched many students' lives. Many means many. A lot of people are there who still sometimes, out of the blue, just bump into me and say that, oh, ma'am, do you remember you trained us? And today I'm working with Wipro or I'm working with TCS. You trained us, you made us ready for the interviews. You told us how to crack an interview. So that really helped us. We could clear the group discussions, convert the call into selection. So yeah, I have touched many lives, and that has gives a lot of a sense of happiness, a sense of satisfaction that still you are etched as a mentor in their minds. So you have played a role in their life to which could actually enhance their personality, touch them. You're on mute, your microphone.
I usually do that. And then I forget, and then I'm being reminded by.
No worries.
Yes, dear. Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing those beautiful experiences. As you said, you've been inspiring many young students, and once they have reached that level of, either becoming a great professional, they really, when they meet you either in a public space or maybe at any given situation, you never know if they are students or if they are our clients. You could say they may meet us at any given point, and when they are grateful for what we have done for them, and when they share that, that's really a beautiful feeling, right?
Oh yeah, that's a very beautiful feeling when you see that they come to you and tell that, oh, you know what, Joe, for the corporates, for example, the corporates, when they come and tell me that, hey, we have been using this tool which you had explained and it's really helping. Now my my time on that particular in a particular to solve a particular problem, my time has come down thanks to the tool what you have equipped us with. So these kind of feedbacks when you get from your clients or when your students, as I said, when they write to you saying that they want to thank you for the kind of uh, help you have done in enhancing their perspective or changing their perception towards life, and I think that gives you a lot of satisfaction.
Yes, dear. Dear ma'am, you mentioned this very beautifully. Leadership and learning are very essential. So
Yeah.
I would like you to just speak a few lines and empower us with the term leadership.
See, the other day, in fact, I was just reading an article And I came across something where somebody was saying that, and there were a lot of comments on that particular article. Somebody had blogged something on leadership. So leadership is, for me, from my experience, I feel that leadership is cannot, it's very subjective. It's very subjective. Who I see as a leader, other person may or may not. So that's one of the reasons I feel that leadership cannot be defined in certain terms, because you'll come across many quotes on leadership. Now, how have they given such beautiful quotes? Because of their experiences. So if I'm quoting something, is based on my experience and my observation about how I've seen people, right? So when I say leadership has got many dimensions, many aspects, and I think it's like a prism, so it exudes a lot of different colors. Same way, a leader has to, there are different, he changes his or her style based on the situation and the circumstances he's in. So I feel that everybody, honestly, everybody, leadership is not a tag. A CEO is a CEO of a company. He may be a good leader or may not be a good leader, but technically he may be really sound with his job. That's the reason he's a CEO. So I feel that leadership is something where one, if somebody is able to lead with an example, becomes a good leader. A leader is one who is able to not solve the problems, but make them capable enough to solve the problems. Rather than you solving somebody's problem, you're not a leader, right? So I think it's got different. That's how I define. So I don't have a set definition, but I define it as leadership has got many different aspects, and one, it is all about the perspective you have towards the situation and the circumstances and the people you're working with, your peers, your subordinates, your, so you can be my junior and still be a very good leader, and there's a lot to learn from you, right? So that's how I look at leaders. And when I say leadership, learning is an ongoing process. It's an ongoing journey, Andrea. So, we as trainers very firmly feel and believe that it's always important to learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's a very important concept which has to be a part and parcel of everyone's life, not only for trainers, but for everyone. You learn, you relearn, you unlearn, and then you relearn. So that broadens your, scope of absorbing things, right? So otherwise, as I said, there's a receptivity is always blocked when you come to a certain level. So learning is an ongoing thing, and I feel that the more you learn, the better you inculcate leadership qualities in you. That's why I said leadership and learning are indispensable, and they go hand in hand.
Perfect, ma'am. That's really perfect. That's really very nice. I'm sure there are a lot of takeaways for us today here, and learning and leadership goes together, and then only you can really succeed. And either at home or at the corporate level or in any institution that you are in. Ma'am, we'd like to know about your childhood, as to what kind of a little girl were you when you were a youngster. As you said, like you were okay when you were in college, and you were like outspoken and talking and bubbly and chirpy all the time. But below the age of 10, do you have any beautiful memories with regard to?
Oh yes, I have. I have a lot of memories. See, I'll not say that life has been hunky dory all the time. It has not been a bed of roses all the time. A lot of people have this misconception that, oh, their life is so beautiful, everything is perfect. But you never know what's happening in their lives personally, right? Because what you showcasing is to the world outside, but what you're going through is something which only you know, right? Sometimes, my childhood has been it has been a medley of happiness, hardships. Certainly, hardships were there, happiness was there. A lot of discipline in our life was inculcated because of my father being from the defense. So I have grown up as a child who was taught to be very independent. I have been very independent right from my childhood. And I was good at sports. I was good at swimming. So, and that's one of the reasons that I also pursued I was a state level hockey player as well. So, childhood has been always, where I could talk to of course, during our time, too much of, opening up with your parents was not a part of our growing up ages, unlike the now present generation, where they're able to speak their mind and, tell whatever they want. So I think I always went with what my parents said. They told me to, this is how you're supposed to do. And that's how I've worked. And somewhere I feel that today's, all those learnings of my childhood is what has made me today what I am. The basic foundation was very strong. And that was honestly thanks to my parents. But yes, it was not a bed of roses. The learning was in a hard way as well. But yes, learned, and I was quite happy, very playful, yet not. I mean, I'll not say I was a topper, but I was good at studies, and I sort of, used to like a lot of dancing and enjoyed my childhood. I was a very good dancer, so a lot of things are there. A lot of memories are etched, with my
Any
childhood.
specific incident you remember?
Specific incident of in terms of how do you want me to
Like either at home, or you were scolded by mom or dad, or maybe you did spilled something, or you broke some furniture, something.
yeah,
Mischievous.
absolutely. Yeah. See, what happens is your kids, you don't realize, you do a lot of mischiefs, a lot of mischievous things when as a child, and you don't realize the repercussions. So I still remember that. I know it's very personal, but just sharing it. I have a younger brother, so I think over a very small kind of a squabble between us, and I happened to beat him so bad that I broke his wrist. I mean, just out of fight, I pushed him, and uh, somehow we both managed, and I wrapped a towel around his hand and said that don't tell it to parents, that your hand is paining. So, and he went and he said, okay, Didi, I'll not tell it to anyone. And he went and hid in the cupboard. So all those memories are there. And I was given my, properly by my parents that you're not supposed to do this with your sibling. He's younger than you. I was hardly an 8-year-old kid, and he was, what, 5 years old, which I didn't realize. I broke his hand, as in there are a lot of bruises and abrasions on his hand because of the fight we had as sibling. But yes, I was told, and I was given my due punishment just to make me understand that what I have done is not right. Punishment was not very harsh, but yes, I was made to realize, and I understand. I think so. As I said, growing up ages was with discipline. At the same time, there was love, there was a lot of motivation, but yes, there was discipline in our lives. So yes, this is one incident. Otherwise, there are incidents galore. Many incidents are there which we used to travel. I know it sounds again very cliched. Oh, हमारे time में हम इतना चल के जाते थे. Like my father tells me, and so when I tell my kids, so we used to go in the army bus, school bus used to come, and 5:30 we used to leave because we were staying in a very remote area, and we had to travel almost 50 or to 60 kilometers to reach our school. That's because we were posted in a very corner, I mean, in the army, you're posted at every nook and corner of the country. So we were posted there, and the bus used to ply us 60 kilometers from our place. So all the officers' kids and all other rank kids, we are taught that discrimination is not there in our lives only because even whether you're a gazetted officer, you're an officer, or you're another rank, bhaiya's kids, we all used to travel together in the same bus. So I think these are all sweet memories, bittersweet memories, rather, I would say.
Yes, that's really nice, ma'am. Thank you for sharing. I could really visualize you traveling in the bus. I could visualize you and your little brother hiding in the cupboard and
Yeah.
trying to pacify him, trying wrap up that towel and all of that. That's really nice. Yes, dear. Dear ma'am, have you ever come across anybody, any youngster, you being in your teenage or maybe in your early 20s, of course, before being married, have you ever come across anybody who was in a depressive state of mind, like not able to communicate to his or her parents and was all like suffering within him or herself? Have you come across any of your friends suffering like this silently? And did you ever try to uh, come in the picture and try to counsel them in any way?
Okay, let me just tell you, this word depression is something which we never knew. Maybe we had gone through the symptoms, but we never knew that it is supposed to be labeled as depression. I mean, I think of late when I see youngsters saying that, I'm going into depression, and no reason being not known to them, reason unknown. They really don't know, despite having everything. People go into depression, and I do empathize with them. I do understand. But yes, before marriage, when I was in my early 20s and all, I had a couple of friends. Firstly, there was a kind of a taboo also, despite the fact that we were from the defense forces. I had a couple of friends where we had, at the end of the day, there are certain restrictions. You have to be back home from college by so and so time. There were no mobiles at the time. So yes, I had a couple of friends who actually could not put across their points to their parents, and they are not from the defense. Of course, they're not from the defense. So uh, they were bored. The atmosphere they were in, they're very conventional and a very traditional family, where you're not supposed to kind of, I'll not say giving it back to your parents or back mouthing your parents, but certainly not that approach was not a very free approach. It was not an open door policy or open door communication with their with their parents. And yes, I know a couple of them who actually could not speak, and I was a person who was very tomboy. So I used to wonder what is wrong. Just go and talk to your parents, tell them. Of course, we also had a certain limit. There was a line to be drawn where you can't cross that line with your parents. However, if there is something which is bothering, I think people should open up and speak. And that is what I told my friend. Was I successful? 85% I was successful, where I could pull her out and say, just tell me what is it. And I used to take her out, understand. I think that breathing space was given to her, which was not given to her by her parents, unfortunately, for whatever reasons. Nobody to be blamed. The circumstances were like that. So yes, to an extent, I was successful to come get her out of that. But yes, it's not an easy task. I was there. What if I was not there? And it can happen to me also, right? So it's very important to open up and speak and address that issue. Something is bothering you, please address it. Talk to somebody who really you are close to, one of your parents or your siblings or your friend, but just open up and speak up. And this I have realized, I think this over a period of time has reiterated, this I have been emphasizing again and again, that it's important to open up and speak. If you're not liking something and you're feeling suffocated and you're being pushed to the wall, open up and speak. Put your point on the table. That's important.
Yes, dear. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. As what I could understand is open up and speak. Don't be a silent sufferer.
Absolutely.
Don't be a silent victim. Speak up. Now, if this is at the personal level, ma'am, what about the professional level? Are people given a chance to open up and speak? Because you are in this training and mentoring of individuals and personal, right? Like, do they also have a chance to open up and speak out their mind at the right time with the right kind of people? Because there they have to be very careful, right? And if they just have a slip of their tongue, maybe they might be they may have to go out with a resignation letter, or their promotion may be, halted. You never know what happens. So in this case, what does one do on the professional space if he or she has something to share?
Yeah. So see, I communication, an important aspect in everyone's life. So communication is not see, I personally believe that communication is not about speaking glamorous language, speaking very good English and articulating all your semantics and syntax are in place. That's not what communication is. Communication is, are you able to put across your point in a very assertive way? In a very assertive way, not an aggressive way, right? So the word assertiveness is something which is missing, right? So if you feel, and if you feel that you might have a slip of tongue, one has to understand that that's one of the reasons we have, 2 years active listening. Listen properly. So there are certain principles and values, Andrea, which I firmly keep at the back of my mind and keep reminding myself. I'm very much into reading. I love reading, and I love reading articles and quotes and books. So I came across a very beautiful Turkish proverb which says, uh, listen 100 times, ponder, think 1,000 times, and open only once. Open your mouth only once. And when you open, it should make an impactful statement so that you speak sense and not nonsense. And for you to make and speak sense in a very assertive way, you need to first listen, right? And I very firmly believe that, as I said, if you're not able to put across your point in an assertive way, that means there is something really, really that needs to be looked at and improved and worked upon if you're not able to put across your point. Because you are going to be, all the pent up feelings, one fine day will vent out, and that will create a chaos. The control, you can't control the damage. So it's better that be assertive in the way you communicate and be a good listener. That should help you.
Yes, dear. That's really very nice, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing. As you mentioned, books, you're a wonderful reader, an avid reader. What kind of books appeal to you?
Okay, I used to read a lot of books when I was in my college. After that, also, I used to read a lot of books. Jeffrey Archer. One of my favorite authors is Khalid Hosseini. I've read all his books, fictional. But now I read a lot of self-help books, not because I need self-help, uh, but yes, those books changes my perception of looking at things. So I do a lot of I read books which gives, like, art of clear thinking, or the way of, books like, let me just say, Ikigai, which is one of the beautiful books. So these are the books which actually helps you to, as I said, open that thought process. You absolutely have a parochial outlook because of the kind of job you're involved in and the mundane life you have. You stop thinking from different aspects, and these books actually broaden your scope of thinking. So that's the reason they're called self-help books, not that they are teaching you something and you're going to implement it tomorrow itself and see the results the day after. These books help you to call for an action, to have to change yourself, maybe 6 months down the lane, maybe 3 months down the lane, or maybe a year down the lane. So that's one of the reasons I love reading self-help books. And of course, I read a lot of articles, small write-ups. I love reading it.
Yes, dear. That's really nice. Reading to change our perception, to concentrate on the beautiful art of thinking. When you think in the right way, the right things really.
At least it equips you with, a different perceptions of how to view one particular, rather than going in a very conventional way. Can I also look it from a different perspective? It's something like this. If I'm hold a paper and write number 6 on it and say that, listen, Andrea, this is 6. You're outrightly going to reject me and say that, no, Joe, it's 9. So are you wrong? Is Andrea wrong, or is Joe wrong? Nobody's wrong. So that's what these self-help books are about. Empathy. How do you walk few steps, take few steps, the other person takes few steps, like you take few steps, and we understand and come to a midway. So I think these kind of thought processes is what these self-help, books helps you to introspect, retrospect, and then change your overall perception.
Yes, dear. That's really nice, ma'am. So, my dear friends, keep reading books, keep reading articles. It's really going to transform your lives for the better.
Oh, yes, it helps you with your language. It helps you with your grammar. It helps you with your vocabulary, new words you learn, and you be so confident that you're learning a new word. I think vocabulary plays a major role, very important, because, I very firmly believe that if you're not using the right word to put across your points and you're searching for words here and there, the other person will not get the essence of your point. So vocabulary has to be in place.
Yes, dear. Very true, ma'am. Very true. What is that one thing that you love about Joe?
About Joe? Okay, that's a good one. I think Joe has, I feel that I am a person who, I'll not say a go-getter, but whatever piques my interest, I ensure that I finish it. I do it come what may. So I don't give up easily. in areas which are of my interest, I don't give up. I really pursue it till the end, and I try to get. I succeed in that. I'm very proud to say that. So I don't leave things halfway. I start a journey. If I start something, I try to finish it, and a lot of learning happens all along. And I love to learn. I as I said, I love reading. I love upskilling myself. I keep doing courses even now. Why is it going to fetch me any money? I don't know. I don't do that course. I'm not doing courses from that angle. I'm doing courses just to keep my brain active and to learn new subject. I've done organizational development already in my MBA, but again, I have done a certification in that just to understand the latest uh, trends or latest policies which organizations are adapting. Right. So I think Joe is a person who doesn't give up. Joe is a person who loves to learn all her life, and Joe is a person who likes to keep herself happy.
Yes, dear. Beautifully explained, ma'am. That's wonderful. Upgrading our skills, acquiring knowledge, and being happy. That's really nice.
Yes, that's
Dear
very.
ma'am, I'd like to know, like, when you were a youngster, did you ever take part in sports and games? Or you do still have an interest in any of the sports and games?
Yes, I think with every stage of my life, new interests have have I've equipped myself with new skills, and a lot of new interests have has picked me. So I was a good at sports. I have that's one of the reasons I'm very extro. I mean, I'll not say an extrovert, but a very outgoing person. I'm not a person who will. Um, there are, for example, there are people who are very economy of words, don't speak much. But because I'm also a trainer, by default, we talk. We have that gift of gab. We are supposed to be having the gift of gab. So yes, I have been into sports. I love playing sports, and as I said, I was a hockey player. So I've learned a lot from that, from the sport, any game for that matter. Actually, helps you improve there's a 180-degree paradigm shift when you're a sports person. You are here, but the moment you get into sports, it changes your overall personality, it changes your outlook, it changes your thought process. So yes, I have been into sports, and that's one of the reasons. With that, I have done a lot of things which have been applauded by people. So yes, during my college school days, I was into sports.
Yes, dear. That's really nice. So I could really imagine you playing hockey.
Yeah, I did.
It's the national game of India.
Yeah, it is. Hockey is a national
I was
game.
hesitating
Unfortunately,
to
people
tell
think it's cricket. It's hockey.
hockey.
Hockey
Yes.
is a national game. Yes.
I was hesitating, like maybe I could be wrong. So let me just.
No, you're right. It is now coming into limelight. Yeah, earlier, never people never used to pay heed to hockey as a game. But thanks to the kind of exposure we have, thanks to the kind of digitalization, I mean, digital platforms and social medias, hockey is getting its due recognition. Fortunately, people understand what is hockey. Oh, there's a game called hockey also, hockey, football. They were unfortunately or fortunately, sort of put on a back burner because of cricket. Although I love cricket, honestly, but yes, other games also I feel should get due recognition.
Yes, dear. As you mentioned, you love cricket too. Have you ever
Yes,
been playing cricket?
I haven't played, but we as a family sit and watch sports. My son is a soccer player. He plays for clubs, and my daughter is a cricket enthusiast. My husband is a marathon runner. We have been into sports. We are also a sports family.
Adventures.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Beautiful. Ma'am, what about traveling? Do you enjoy solo traveling or traveling with a group, or maybe on a professional basis you travel, with regard to your work?
Yeah, with regards to my work, I travel. But I've been traveling all my life, as I said, because my dad used to get posted every 4 years. Then I got married to an officer. We again got posted. But so I love traveling. I love traveling. I've never done solo traveling. That's on my bucket list now. I want to do a solo traveling and go to a beautiful place and have all the time for myself in the world without bothering about the personal front or the professional front. So
It's a
I
super
am,
awesome feeling, ma'am. Trust me. I've
yes,
been
it is
there.
an awesome feeling.
Yes. You feel really liberated, at least for those few days or for those few moments. You really feel that you are you. You could manage everything
I
on
think
your.
I think you get some me time is important.
Very true.
The me time which is dividing your thoughts of what has to be, our kids back. I need to send this presentation. Oh, this mail has to be sent. Oh, has a, I need to look what to be made for dinner. At least those thoughts you should be devoid of those thoughts when you go on a solo trip. And that's as I said, it's in my bucket list. God willing, I'll do it maybe in a couple of years.
No, hopefully this year you should be able to do it. But anyhow.
I'm actually planning that this year only I should, aim at going on a solo destination traveling.
Yes, dear. And that gives us more power, and we become more stronger, and we're
You
able
come
to.
back I think, you come back rejuvenated.
Very true.
You get a lot of time for yourself. You understand. And even without you knowing, you do a lot of self introspection. You do a lot of introspection. You do a lot of retrospection, even without you realizing it. It changes your perception. You get to see the other side of you, which was quite hidden and which was never out. So I think because I have seen a couple of my friends do, and they come back with a very beautiful feeling, very rejuvenated, very energetic. So I think why it should be only a goal for once. It should be every year. A me time, a solo trip is extremely important for any lady, whether she's a working lady or a housewife. A me time is important. And me time need not be a destination which has to be very, few miles away. It can be just going to a nearby ashram also is fine. A lot of people who are into spirituality can always visit spiritual places, stay there, and get that kind of inner feeling. You do that. A lot of inner engineering is required. That happens when you are on a solo trip. You engineer your inner self and say, "Oh my God, was I like this? Oh, I didn't know that this." I think that a beautiful movie that Manu with Sanu or somebody, I think that Kangana Ranaut movie is there. When she goes on a solo trip and she actually comes back in a very, outspoken personality. She comes out as an outspoken personality who was very shy. So I think these are very important, especially for a lady.
Yes, dear. That's really nice, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. There are several women who have taken a break from the career. Either they have little kids, or due to family pressure, they might have stopped working and they would love to rejoin.
Mm-hmm.
Is the suggestion you'd like to give all of them
I
to bounce
very,
back
very
again?
strongly advocate that women should get back to work. That gives them a lot of, that working for 8 hours in the office actually makes your brain think away from the monotony of your handling the house, which is a monotonous job. Let's be very honest. So those 8 hours when you're putting in and you're getting recognition in return, whether it's in cash, kind, or words or appreciations, you feel very good. And again, you have to be financially independent. Even if you are a multimillionaire's daughter, it's extremely important to be financially independent. I worked all throughout my pregnancy. After my baby was born, thankfully, I was blessed that, I was staying in a place where my parents also used to stay. So I used to leave my baby, come back. I was on my toes with my toddlers. And I did my executive business management after I had two toddlers. My daughter was 6, my son was 3 when I did my executive business management from IIM Calcutta. 1 year, 22 papers. I was working. I was having two toddlers, looking after the house, working and studying. And I successfully finished. So I think there's nothing that a lady can't do. I feel that women are multitaskers. They can handle career, job, family, husband, needs of the kids, everything. May not be perfect, but certainly they do a good job. So yes, very important that ladies should get back to work. She should work, and that gives a lot of confidence. That changes your personality. That gives you a lot of confidence, and at no point, at any point of life, if you're coming across circumstances or situations or hardships, I'm sure a lady once she gets back to work and she starts working, I think she'll try to figure out ways and means to overcome that. I'm not saying that housemakers, homemakers can't. They can. But yes, it'll be more easier and maybe You'll be able to maneuver the hardships of life if you are working. That's very important. And you have your self-respect and your self-esteem will always be intact. Extremely important for a lady to work and get back to work after maternity leave, or rather than staying home, which is also a big job.
Yes, dear. Thank you for the beautiful information, ma'am. Thank you for the beautiful message. There's another big question coming up, ma'am.
Yeah.
Working women, they are financially independent, but on the sad, if you look at the sad picture with regard to a few women, they are unable to spend their own earnings and share it with their parents. They are being
told not
controlled. They are being controlled by their spouse and in-laws, not to share their earnings with her or her own parents.
In
Yes.
a lighter vein, generally they say that, women says that to a husband that, your money is our money, my money is my money. But yes, on a serious note, I think, it's extremely important that both wife and husband work in today's, with the kind of, the price going up, cost of living is very high. It's important for a lady and a man to work and, ensure that, and once a woman and wife and husband work, it's very important that they have that balance to bring up their kids. Very important. Financially understand each other and financially help out each other. Having said that, it is important for the women to speak up and say that, listen, this is, if I'm earning an X amount, I would like to help my parents, because they have brought me to this world. They have ensured that I study. They have taken care of my studies. They have nurtured me right from my childhood. So there is certain responsibility. It is not only a man's responsibility, but a woman's responsibility also to look after her parents. So I think certain amount should be given to, if it's absolutely an internal issue. But if a lady wants to help her parents, a man should not, I think, see, at the end of the day, however much we are wife and husband, you need to draw a line and stand your ground on certain issues. Very important. You can have a happy married life. You certainly have a lot of respect, love for your spouse, but you need to draw a circle around you, which cannot be shaken up by your kids or your better half. Very, very important. So you need to draw a line around you. There has to be a radius. Beyond this, you can't. You should not enter. I'll do everything unconditionally as a wife, as a husband, as a parent. But this is something which are certain decisions which have to be respected, even if I'm a woman. And that could be also about sharing your finances or helping your parents financially. Very important.
Yes, dear. Hats off to you for this beautiful reply, ma'am. Lots of clarity and lots of empowerment. It was very empowering to listen to you to speak like that. Have that circle, have that radius. Let no one come, nor your kids, nor your spouse.
Yes, you need to have, and you need to stand firm.
Yes.
You need to stand your ground. And because, a lot of people think that a lady has to be an epitome of sacrifice. Ladies are an epitome of sacrifice. Lady is an epitome of sacrifice. Having said that, if her self-esteem and self-respect is not being taken care by herself, how do you expect people around you to respect you? So very important. At least I do that. I have started doing that. It might, in the process, it might initially be give a lot of discomfort to your better half, to your kids, to your in-laws, to your parents. That why, even with your parents, why, because they feel that they have complete right on you, which is absolutely fine. But as I said, there has to be a circle around you, which is I, me, myself. And there are certain decisions which, if I'm not happy, I'm not take it. And there are certain decisions which I feel I have to take it. I'll try to convince you. You're convinced, well and good. Otherwise, if my decision is not harming you, then I think it should be respected.
Excellent, ma'am. This is what I wanted. This is really very nice. Very empowering.
Thank you.
Big takeaway for me and for my sisters as well there who are going to view this beautiful video.
But Andrea, let me tell you, it's very difficult to implement. A lot of people don't. They give up halfway.
Very true.
That's one of the reasons I said the basic thing is to stand your ground. Stand firm and say that this is what it is. Take it or leave it. Because this decision of yours is not going to harm anyone. It is just going to give you happiness.
Yes, dear. Excellent, ma'am. Very nice. I really appreciate this, the way you shared it. Dear ma'am, we'll come down to another beautiful term called as criticism, and we'll put it like this: constructive criticism. There are many of us, including children, students, colleagues, etc., who are unable to take criticism or constructive criticism at face level.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts and views with regard to only constructive criticism? We'll leave a destructive criticism, we'll cut it off. Only concentrate on constructive criticism.
Okay, let me just tell you. First thing is that you cannot make everyone happy. Let's be honest. Okay, we can't make everyone happy, and we can't, and not everyone can make you happy, make us happy. So it's very important that criticism should be given as a feedback. It should be a constructive and a healthy criticism. So that's how we have film critics also who, tell how the movie is all about. But they put it in a way that they're not demeaning the movie, demeaning the actors, but they're just saying that this has not worked well. This is not sitting well. The plot is not sitting well. So it's a very constructive criticism you have to give, or a constructive feedback. So it's how do I handle criticisms? I take it with a pinch of salt. Whatever I feel should be taken, I take it. Rest all, I just leave it. Yes, it bothers me. So, but I, as a trainer, I feel it extremely important that criticism or the feedback what you give has to be very constructive in a way that the person understands both the negatives and the positives, but only, becomes very happy with the positives and just says that, oh, okay, I just have to work on this. That's the way you're supposed to put it across. And I'm sure a lot of people understand this is called, a very simple terminology. This is called sandwich feedback. I'm sure you must have heard of this. If you look at a sandwich, it's got a bun, it's got a patty, and it's got, again, a bun, right? So bun is, now, which is the most tastiest one? The patty is the tastiest one. Without a patty, the bun is of no use. I mean, it will not give you the kind of taste. It's not a delight to your palate. So when I say constructive criticism, it should be negative, positive, and negative. So if I say that, for example, Andrea or Mr. X, you are absolutely, I think, you have not done your project on time, and I'm extremely unhappy because, and the management is also not very happy with the way you have put across your project. However, now look at the logical connector I'm using. However, they feel that you have a lot of potential and you can be, you are one of the brightest employees of the company. But just work on what I said. Okay. Ensure that you finish your project within the time. Now, when I give one negative, a big positive and one negative, when he walks out of the door, he's got a smile on his face. Why? Because you have just said, you have used logical connectors and say that, however, you are one of the best employees, one of the brightest employees, you have great potential. So that man who is going out of the door, walking out of the door, is only having at the back of his mind that I'm really good, just that Joe wants me to work on this and this. Okay, next time say, I'll ensure that I'll finish the project on time. See, that's how the criticism has to be constructively given. I hope I'm clear to you, right?
Very, very clear.
That is how, and when you walk out of the door, so next time when he sees he has no hard feelings towards me, he'll say that, Joe, I'm working on it. I'm going to ensure that the project is there on your table by the end of the day. Because all the while, what is ringing is, I have great potential. I'm one of the best employees of the company. I just have to work on these chota issues, and then maybe Joe will be happy. So that's how the criticism should be given, in a very constructive way, right? So, for example, we talk about I do a lot of customer centricity programs. And instead of saying that management is extremely unhappy that you're not handling the customers, right? Rather, giving a constructive feedback or a criticism will be, customers, in case they talk about you and give you a good feedback, just imagine how much applaud you'll get how much recognition you'll get from your organization, from your seniors. So there's a way to put across. It's all about playing with words, playing with the right phrases. That's one of the reasons I feel, whether it's in Telugu, English, Tamil, whatever language, the way you put across in a very constructive way, using the right words, the person will be able to take it up happily.
Thank you so much for taking the time and the effort to explain everything with an example too. I really like the way you spoke about the two buns and the patty, the way you gave the example. And when that particular person just crosses the door or walks out, he'll be in a positive frame of mind that yes, he's one of the best and he could work on what has to be focused on.
Absolutely.
That's really very nice. I really like the way you took time to explain that, and that is what I was waiting for someone to do this, to explain it elaborately, and you've done justice to it.
Thank you so much. I think I'm a trainer, so that by default comes out.
Yes, dear. Wonderful, ma'am. It's really a pleasure to have you share your space, ma'am. Really. A wonder to have people like this, my dear friends, to learn and to improve ourselves and to gain all the wisdom that they have already achieved to date. Dear ma'am, what about forgiveness in your life? I mean, on the